also going to give you my email address because what are the 3 parts of the test? Math, reading, writing. Okay, great. How are we going to practice writing in here? Sounds good. You want to pay for that time? No. You're going to write it home. You're going to email. And my email address, why don't we go with Free English Lessons? I love it. Because that's essentially what you'll be getting. You'll be sending me something and you'll be getting a free English lesson. I love that idea. FreeEnglishLessons at gmail.com. And some people say, Steve, are you for real? I say, yeah, I got Free English Lessons as a domain name. Not bad. And as a Google account. So, an additional way to get value out of this course. You call me. This translates as, oh, mucho. You're going to call me and give me 3 interesting words that you didn't know yesterday. And you're going to say, hey, Steve, I just learned the word vicarious. The priest had a vicarious experience when he heard the playboy telling stories of what he did over the weekend. Oh, yeah. So that's my first word. Here's my second word. And here's my third word. And by the way, you are an excellent teacher. And I say thank you very much. See you next week. Okay. So over the next week, you could have 21 new words. There's something that happens in the brain when you perform your understanding. This is a concept by a guy named Gardner. Howard Gardner. He's the guy who came up with something called multiple choices. It's an education theory. Multiple. There's visual learners. There's audio learners. There's louder. Intelligences. Yeah, he claims that there's more than one intelligence. He was one of the first guys to make that a theory. Everybody else said IQ, and you either got it or you don't, right? And it just didn't seem right because you got some really bright people out there who, they can't do math. Who cares? They're bright in some other area. And that's what he identified. So Howard Gardner says the way to check that somebody understands something is not to give them a written test. It's to ask them to perform their understanding. If I asked you to write down the definition of 5 words, and then I also asked you to tell me the definition of 5 other words, and you have to do this in 3 minutes, right? 5 words and 5 words. Which would be easier for you? Which would allow you to talk more, explain more about it? Would it be the writing or would it be the speaking? For you and me, definitely. Yeah. I can't write that fast. And, my spelling's not perfect. So there I am sort of figuring out, I don't want to use that word because I don't know how to spell it, right? But, something like 20% of our governors, the governors of our country, at any time, 10 of them, that's 20%, 10 governors are in office and they don't know how to spell the word like receive. I before E, except after C, right? You learn those things. They know how to motivate people through their speech. And that's how they got through school, right? They may have done very poorly. George Bush was actually a pretty successful guy. I mean, lousy president in my opinion, but he got there not because of some test, it's because he was able to talk his way into rooms.
Well, it probably has something to do with his dad being the president.
Possibly, but if you can't give a speech,
All you have to do is read it, really.
you think so? Look carefully.
I don't think so.
But
It's easy.
you know, do the full test
You gotta
and
perform.
pay for yourself a performing of understanding. Exercise until you breathe hard. Now, speaking from notes, you're right. It may be possible, like Ronald Reagan, maybe to dramatize. But at some point, he was able to, both Reagan and George Bush were able to persuade people that this was the way to go. Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
They may have read something, but they are able to persuade people.
That's how most leaders are.
Yeah, but see, that potential is inside each of you. It's the potential to say, Dad, you really got to let me use the car. I've got to go to this, you know.
Right.
Oh, well, no. You'd come up with something else like, I really need to get this book from my friend who's all the way across town, right? And, you know, that person told me to meet him at this other guy's house where I was going to pick it up. That's where the party's taking place, right? So there's a way to get around whatever obstacle you're looking at.